is up, guys? Welcome to the Transparency. This is for all those that are way on the other side of the world. Today, I'm going to be dropping the link. Today, we are going to be calling Moscow Police Department. I've already called them once today. I'll call them again. We're putting on our own bolo. Be out on the lookout for police officers that dress up as police officers. Wait, what? I mean, real people. I mean, civilians dressing up as police officers. Good morning, Mod Squad. Good morning, New Orleans lady. You guys, this is about to get wild today. I can promise you that. Because, God forbid, Lana reads a report incorrectly and says 10 p.m. instead of 10 a.m. But I have all of you guys that are smart to say, oh, Lana, look. I'm like, oh, okay, yep, that's exactly what that is. And I said, well, moving on along, because that's not even really what this is about. What it's about is why in the world would a kid think to call the police and say, hey, I need you guys to look at my Ring camera because I don't think that these are real police officers. At 3:30 in the morning, the same time of the murders of the Idaho4, 6-7 weeks before that, this kid is worried. Are people dressing up as police and entering people's homes and committing quadruple homicides? Well, we went and took it a step further. And I straight up said, screw all this. I'm calling Moscow Police Department. And I want to talk to none other than David Hathaway. I want to talk to David Hathaway, who made this report and who confirmed that, in fact, what Vaughn was experiencing was an alarm went off in that area and that's why they were there. Well, guess what? We got ourselves the report. I called, and that alarm, ladies and gentlemen, was from Main Street, nowhere near 1118 King Road in terms of this gives you a specific address. This gives you your alarm's going off. The security company is calling basically the police to send them there, and they go to 1118 King Road instead of going to Main Street. No, that's not what happened. So, but Hathaway said he confirmed it in his report. Welcome to the Transparency. Let's get into it. I love Mod Squad, man.
Listen, folks, I know there's a history here. I'd like to get this hearing in today. You know, everybody needs to just focus on the relevant facts, okay? I know there's a history here.
Come on in.
Are you talking up by Sunset Mart? Up the hill by the gas station?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Main Street. That's Main Street right there. Crazy. Absolute craziness.
All right. Who's responsible here?
What's that?
Who's responsible here? Whose house is this?
That one.
Yeah. Been drinking or anything, right?
No.
Okay. Drive careful, okay?
Thank you.
This is what the other group had that ran away.
Oh, really? You just ditched it? Awesome.
Yeah, those ones kept walking in the car. And the other one.
It's truly for the win.
That I was given to. So there was two different discs They all knew about it.
We're not here to talk about the alcohol stuff, okay?
Okay, yeah.
But this is the second noise complaint we've had here tonight within 2 hours.
Damn that noise, man.
Good, how are you?
Good. Is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect.
We have
You want to hear?
undercovers.
And I see noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah.
Nothing against having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, then we have an issue.
Like brains, and like if you need a lot of brains, you're gonna be in trouble.
You are going to be in so in trouble. Okay, again, welcome to the Transparency, back at it. This is a morning live for all of you guys. Again, all the different time zones. This one is for my overseas folks. We're going to be talking about, I just dropped the link in chat. We're going to be talking about 4 different cases, but we are going to start with the Idaho4 case and probably come back to it. What currently is going on is they're looking through the IGG stuff, but we went ahead and we have to go back and look at something that happened in January, in my opinion, because it didn't just happen one time. It happened 2 times, where you have students saying to police officers, are you a real cop? Are you a fake cop? Like, we didn't stop because we thought that you guys were fake cops, you know? And then here, come to find out, after Brian Koberger was arrested, about 10 days afterwards, and right after the PCA comes out, a gentleman at 1118 King Road goes to the police station and says, hey, I need you guys to look at this, because at 3:30 in the morning, there's like people that look like cops trying to, get into my house. Like, can you just tell me, are these people really police officers? And when this got reported was at 10 a.m. on January 9th. And it took them from 10 a.m. to 5:34 p.m., so 7.5 hours, to get their stories straight, to that when Officer Hathaway wrote up his report. He said, reporting party had security video from his apartment on King Road showing 2 MPD officers approaching his residence on 1/9/2023 at about 3:30 in the morning, and wanted to make sure they were real cops. I checked the call logs, and so did we last night. We double checked those call logs, and there was a 2:40 a.m. alarm. Main Street, down on Main Street. You guys know where the grub truck. Main Street. Yes, Moscow, the campus is small, but Main Street, in comparing when you're talking about an alarm and it's taking you to a certain specific area, not just an area, but a specific house, location, address that has this alarm, is nowhere near 1118 King Road, nowhere near it. And David Hathaway, MPD officer, writes that I checked the call logs and confirmed through the call logs that Officer Flattery had responded to the area for an unknown burglary alarm being called in by a security company. Okay, now let's pay attention to the language. This is what they do in the PCAs. Had responded to the area. Remember when they talk about the PCA? That vehicle was seen in the area. Well, now we know what the area means. Shit, we could be... Main Street is in the area of 1118 King Road, according to David Hathaway, Detective David Hathaway. And he confirmed through call logs. He didn't talk to Officer Flattery, But what about the other officer? There was 2 people dressed up. So he's saying that I went ahead and confirmed that there were people that were there. No, what you confirmed was that there was an alarm that went off way away, and that the person that took that call was Officer Flattery. That's what you confirmed. And now I think it's only fair that Vaughn is actually told the truth. So we're going to be calling Vaughn to tell him the truth on his incident in 2023. I reached out to my boy, Dave, reached out to him and said, hey, I think you might know this Vaughn Schroeder, and I think you may want to get this information to him. And I'll go ahead and I'll take that audio video recording. Then I said, well, I want to talk to Hathaway. So I want to go ahead and call up the MPD police department, and I want to leave a message for Hathaway to call me on this incident that has to do with report number 23M00245. So now the question even more so is now totally like we need to spotlight it, which is, why in the world would a kid wake up in the morning, see his phone that has his alerts, which alerted him somebody had come up to his door? Your Ring camera alerts you, then you go ahead, you press it, you press play, and then you can watch the clips. And then immediately he called the police, not to ask what were they doing at my house, but to ask if they were real police officers. And can you confirm that they're real? Strange, right? How could that ever be your first? I know that wouldn't be mine unless there was something going on in that area. Okay. And then we go to what Dylan said in the PCA, which I'm here to help you. Then we go to what the kids said at the band field, on the cameras in the band field. They said, oh, we thought that you guys weren't real cops. You guys were dressed up as cops. Okay. So then I go back and I think to myself, whatever these kids had been talking about, okay, their neighbors were just murdered with somebody coming and trying to get in their home, and they got into their home between the hours of 3 and 4 in the morning. Now you're going to sit here and tell me that two people look like they're trying to get into this house that is literally right across the street from the Idaho4 house. Literally at the same time that the murders happened, 7 weeks before, this kid wakes up, sees his, app, sees that there's cops, or that look to be cops, approaching and trying to get into his home. And his first thought is he wants confirmation that these are real police officers and not fake officers. Think about that. And so are these kids talking amongst themselves to say that the people that came in and the people that they were dressed as police officers, why would we call the police? They're dressed like police officers. And then you're going to sit here and tell me that they were real police officers? But then why wouldn't Hathaway do his damn job? You have all eyes on you, Moscow Police Department. And you got lazy David Hathaway here. And I've pulled up a bunch of stuff about David Hathaway. Okay. And his answer is, and it takes him 7.5 hours to pull up and look at the logs that me and you just take 2 seconds to read. Oh, yep. There was an alarm, 2:40, but nowhere near that house. But that's what confirmed it, that, yeah, Officer Flattery was sent there. Well, that would be Main Street. Officer Flattery was not sent to 1118 King Road. Okay. And so what I am trying to get my hands on currently as we speak is this video from, I'm telling you, my odds are that this kid would have not deleted that. So I'm trying my damnedest to get my hands on that video that they showed the police, that he showed the police to say, hey, can you confirm that these are 2 police officers? What about, I would be asking, why were they at my house? What's going on? Why were they there? So again, this is something that literally happened right after Brian Culver was arrested. He was arrested 10 days before this. The PCA comes out. So maybe this is why 911 is not called in Moscow, Idaho. Could this be a reason that Moscow, Idaho has a 911 problem? I'm not calling the police. The police are the problem. I'm not calling the cops. Why would I call the cops? I'm not calling them. You call them. I'm not calling them. You call them. So are we going to get down then to here as this gets into a trial as to why, people aren't calling the cops? And this kid, I'm telling you, got in his car, went down to the MPD lobby at the station and went and was showing. Because how else would you be able to say, can you tell me if these are the cops or not? You'd have to show them. So good morning, everybody. I hope you talk to this young man and he gives you better light on the story. I don't think there's going to be better light on the story. I think he's going to be like, wait, so they told me that it was cops. Now you're telling me that it wasn't cops? Well, I just want to go ahead. I know that none of these kids looked up these logs. Like, they're not. When I talked to Dave, he's like, we're not like web sleuths. Like, we're all in college. We're trying to take things. Why would, what the police were telling us, but then they're really not telling us anything. And he's like, and it wasn't until like we were able to come across some of this stuff that we started questioning some stuff. So we're going to go ahead and call. Yeah. But I want to know what the motive was for Dave Hathaway to want to cover for. If you don't know who truly is going up to that house, why would Dave Hathaway feel the need to cover for this? Think about that. If, hey, they come and they show me this, well, no, we were there was an alarm that went off, but that was over on Main Street. Let me take a look at this. Yeah, they definitely weren't dispatched here. I have no idea what these guys are doing here. So what would be David Hathaway's purpose in covering this for, whatever? Like, you would want to, you would look at it. And I'm telling you, it took him 7.5 hours before he said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and write this report. And he felt the need to just say in this report, which was very, very slim. So we're going back to the report, which is just that he confirmed it. And the only way that he confirmed it was through pulling up how we pull up the logs. He pulled up the logs and just said, yeah, Flattery had responded to the area for an unknown burglary. And you guys, I don't believe that this is laziness. Remember, this is all eyes on you. At that point, Moscow's under the biggest microscope. They're being hounded, saying that this isn't the most inept investigation. You got the parents of Kaylee Gonsalves. Parents are on the news every other night saying, what the heck? Trust me, this is not laziness. Okay. This man said, okay, I'm going to be the one to write up this report. Like, why wouldn't the guy who was called, Officer Flattery, why wouldn't he be the one to write up the report? Well, come to find out, the reason that Dave wrote the report is because Dave was the one that was dispatched for this call. So then he's the one that did the follow-up to see, okay, well, let's see if these people are really cops. Let's see why they would have been over here. Let's find out. And all he had to write then was 4 or 5 sentences. And I do believe that he actually talked to somebody. And I do believe then he took it upon himself to cover, okay? Because Main Street is nowhere near 1118 King Road in terms of that you could possibly mix that up. You know, my alarm's going off here at my house because someone's trying to break in and kill me. And the cops go literally a mile and a half down the road and just go into somebody else's house. Then they should be sued. The two people should be sued. Because then if I die, it's a wrongful death on the cops, in my opinion. But then what's the security company dispatching and saying that the problem is over on Main Street when my address is clearly, you know, like that just never would happen, guys. This would not happen. Okay. This just would not happen, man. And so at a time that all eyes are on Moscow, David Hathaway feels the need to write up a report like this. So we're going to go ahead and call Moscow PD and leave a message for Dave Hathaway to give us a call back and to explain to us, because I'm calling on behalf of a couple of my members and subscribers. You guys live right there in Moscow. And in fact, some of you guys are texting me right now. I'm calling on the behalf of you. You live there. Don't you want to be safe? That's what I thought. So let's give MPD a call and ask them to explain to us how they confirmed that Officer Flattery was in fact the cop that was at the home of 1118. We're just going to ask some questions to get some clarification, because those are two totally like far away from each other points. So let's go ahead and call MP Moscow Police Department. Again, welcome to Truth and Transparency. If you want the truth, you just go and get it, right? Let's see. I want the non-emergency line. All right. I think it's going to be this one. Yeah. Let me go ahead and write this down. 28883. Okay. Make sure it's on speakerphone. Grab your coffees. Let's get our butts in gear. Can I have a tea? The green tea ones? Hi, is this the Moscow Police Department?
We dispatched them. What can I do for you?
Okay, perfect. I'm actually just trying to get in contact with a David Hathaway, badge 109 MPD.
Okay. Their admin staff isn't on duty right now. They won't be on duty until 8. My suggestion would be to call back after that, and they can get you in contact.
Okay, so yeah, we're in different time zone here. So 8 a.m. Moscow's time. So that would be, I think at like 11.
29 minutes from now. So I'd give it about 30, 35 minutes maybe.
Okay, 30, 35 minutes. And then what number should I call for that?
You can call this one.
Oh, and then you can just patch me through?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much. You've been very helpful. I'll call back. Bye-bye. All right. So we're going to be calling back in 29 minutes when they're there. Love Lana's live phone calls to the government. So we're going to come back to this, but guys, this is really important. There's a kid that I believe that was completely lied to. And somebody was trying to get into his home, and I want to clear this all up as how an alarm, which is literally across town, would be the reasoning that another officer would say, well, yeah, I checked the logs and there was a burglary alarm that went off, so that makes sense. How do these people have jobs? How do they have jobs? No, none of that makes sense. Love you, Boston. Drive safe. So moving on. Again, we're going to come back to this in about 28 minutes now. We have to be patient, guys. Patience is a virtue. Here is the link to invite all of you guys up there. Now we're moving on to the Karen Reed case. Guys, did you know that Karen Reed's case is going to literally be, I mean, I think Idaho4 is going to have one very, very interesting finale. I think that Karen Reed case is going to put corruption exactly where it should be, full blast. But the FBI has launched an investigation into the investigation. Okay. Now, how do we know that? Well, because there were letters that were written saying basically conflict of interest and that the FBI shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z. And this came from the DA. So he wrote a letter. So let's take a look really quick at, I'm going to share screen here. This would be all right. Share screen. Get up there. Let's get this play button going.
Police officer John O'Keefe were bar hopping on a snowy night in Massachusetts. At the end of the night, they were invited to a house party at the home of a fellow officer in Canton, Massachusetts. When Karen and John arrived, Karen did not exit the car. John did. From that point forward, there are two very different versions of what happened. Prosecutors say Karen was mad at John and purposely struck him with her car and left him on the ground to die in the snow. But Karen and her defense team say John went to the party. Something terrible happened inside the house, and his body was placed outside, where he was found dead the next morning. Karen has been charged with murder, but claims she is the victim of a big cover-up by police. The battle inside the courtroom and outside the courthouse has been intense. Prosecutors insisting Karen Reed is a murderer, while she insists it was someone inside the house that night who is responsible for what happened to her boyfriend, John O'Keefe. And now reports that the investigators are being investigated by the feds. Tonight, we get all the latest as we continue our investigation into the death of Officer John O'Keefe. Excuse me. It's the weather, folks. I'm Vinny Politan. Great to have you with us tonight here on Closing Arguments. This is a case unlike any case I've ever covered. What is happening up there in Dedham, Massachusetts at the courthouse, in Canton, Massachusetts, where all this happened, the protest, the support for someone accused of murdering a Boston police officer. It's unreal. And every time I do this story, I get all these direct messages and notes, some of them a little heated from both sides of this controversy. No one is happy, and that tells me that this is different than most of the murder trials that we cover here, and that I've been covering for years. And it all begins as a Boston police officer, John O'Keefe. He's dead. He's dead. The question is, how did this happen? Who is responsible? And obviously, as you heard, there are two completely different stories, versions, narratives of what happened the night that John O'Keefe was killed and then found dead in the snow. On the one hand, you have prosecutors saying that this was a crime of passion. These were two lovers who had an argument, and she was angry and she struck him with her car and left him there in the cold to die in the snow. That it was about a relationship gone bad, and a woman who was angry, and that's why she did it. That's one version. That's what the prosecution has said. A lot of times you don't get another version, especially before a trial.
Okay.
But in this case, you have.
Yep, she struck him with his
And the defense
car,
and Karen Reed
or
are
her
saying,
car.
no, it wasn't me. It was someone
just lightly
inside
just-
the house. And this
There's
was
no
a
damage to the
police
car other than
cover-up.
this little
It was
tail
a police
light,
party.
okay?
And
This
it
dude
was
looks
a
like he's been in a fight with Mike
investigation
Tyson.
that was
all right?
done by people connected to people
There are
in the
no
house.
marks on
And
this
that's a
woman
problem.
whatsoever. Okay.
And it's a huge cover-up, and she's being framed for all of this. So there's a lot to get
There's
to every
a
time we do
ton
the
of people
story.
at
There's a
this
lot of
house.
layers. There's a lot of
Nobody
evidence.
hears
But
any
now
fighting. Nobody
there's
hears
a
any
new
screaming.
report. Boston 25, one of the local stations up there, has been doing amazing work on this.
I thought I stopped this.
Real big.
Nobody hears any screaming. Nobody hears any fighting. And his body's laying there. And now it's like, okay, hey, you got one side that says she was set up. You got the other side that says, no, she totally killed this guy and planned it, and it's murder. Okay, murder, not like an accident. Like, this is murder. Well, here we go. And we have now the FBI has stepped in. And the FBI is like, we are investigating the investigation. And it's like, can we get that in Moscow, Idaho? But we can't get that in Moscow, Idaho because the FBI was involved in that investigation. So who would actually investigate that investigation? I mean, we're going to have to just get the president. We're going to have to get, that 80-year-old out there. I want you to investigate this. Just kidding. So continuing on.
In the cold. Big reveal that caught my attention, is catching a lot of people's attention. Take a look. 25 Investigates has learned that the Norfolk County District Attorney, Michael Morrissey, sent a letter to the Department of Justice. Those are the feds, folks, okay? So you've got the local prosecutor sending a letter to the feds requesting that the federal probe of the Karen Reed case be transferred out of Massachusetts. The feds up there are looking at this investigation. Morrissey's letter provides the first official confirmation that the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts is looking into the arrest and prosecution of Reed. So in the middle of trying to prosecute someone for murder, the feds
What a fat
are
bastard.
looking at the people who investigated the case and investigated Karen Reed. This is highly unusual, but big, big news. Joining us tonight from Boston, Massachusetts, the investigative reporter at Boston 25 News, Ted Daniel, is with us. Ted, great to see you tonight. Unbelievable work and investigation you guys are doing. Before we get to all that, let me just take a step back and your analysis of this story, this case, this trial, everything that's happening.
Okay, so this is where it gets funny for me. Vinny asks him about specifically some evidence, and then his answer, okay, I emailed him because I said, your answer was great on Court TV. He doesn't even answer the question. He kind of scuffs it off, but listen to this Q&A right here, and it tells me exactly where Boston 25 is going with their stuff. We get to hear a little bit about the Turtle Riders and Turtle Boy, but listen to this Q&A right here. All right, listen to this. They're doing a great job investigating. Here we go. Listen to this.
I'm feeling down here in Atlanta that things are at a fevered temperature up there with everyone involved. What's your take?
Well, like you, I'm getting the same DMs and emails from people who are vested in this case. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've covered a lot of high-profile cases, including Aaron Hernandez, both of his trials, gavel to gavel. I've never seen anything as polarizing as this, where people are so absolutely dug in on each side. And that has led to just this firestorm that's existed since about April, when the defense came out swinging that they believe this is a cover-up.
So locally, how is this playing? Because now you guys have confirmed for the first time that there is in fact a federal investigation into the investigation of Karen Reed and the investigation of the death of John O'Keefe. Give us a little bit of the parameters of what this is about and what everyone is saying about that part of this case.
Yeah, we weren't the first ones to report the federal investigation. That had been out there, but we were the first ones to confirm it. And the way we did that was interesting. I got a tip that the Norfolk County District Attorney, who is the district attorney where Canton is, that he sent a letter to the Department of Justice essentially pushing back on this federal probe, that the Norfolk DA believes that there's a number of conflict of interests that the DOJ failed to recognize and that they're essentially targeting.
He got a tip. He got a tip. I bet you it's not like the one that they got in Idaho, man. I bet you it wasn't the FBI tipping them off. Well, everyone's getting tips. Just the tip here in the morning.
Him. So we did a public records request for that letter. And when I got the denial from the Norfolk County DA's office, they denied it, saying, hey, this is confidential information. We don't have to give it to you. That essentially confirmed for me that, yes, we do have this letter in existence. This letter is here.
So at this point, where does everything stand? Do we have any idea whether or not people have been interviewed? Have people given depositions? Have people been put in front of a grand jury? What level of investigation is this federal probe at? Do we have any idea?
We do. Our sources tell us that there is a federal grand jury. We know subpoenas went out, and it's been going on for a long time, that subpoenas, at least one round of them went out on April 10th. A number of people who the state has identified as witnesses, who are going to be witnesses for the prosecution, they've been called in to testify in front of this grand jury. And we know that the grand jury was hearing testimony over the summer. I'm aware of people who testified in July and August. But I have not been able to find or learn of anyone who's testified in front of that federal grand jury since August. And as you know, Vinny, these cases, the federal cases, they can take a really long time. But, you know, there's so much, I think, you know, thirst for information here that people say, hey, if the feds have something, if something really exists here that shouldn't, let's hear it. We want to know, because Karen Reed's going to be supposedly going to trial in March. I don't think it's actually going to happen then, but that's when she's on the calendar for.
Right. If the federal probe uncovers something, you would think that Karen Reed and her team would want to know what's going on there, because that would impact their case, because their whole case is that there was something wrong with the investigation and then it was some level of a cover-up.
Absolutely. It's hard to imagine that the feds would let the case go to trial if they have something, which we don't know if they do. If they have something, that the feds would let the case go to trial and play out that way, and then, you know, bring a resolution after that. Or if there's indictments, indictments after that. Something. It just seems that
they 100 have something. Alan Jackson is on this case for a reason.
Is super important, and I wonder if the feds believe there is some pressure on them to. To wrap this up and
wrong button, shit.
Reach a resolution.
And I want to get your take on what's happening at the courthouse. These huge displays. And I know I've had him on the show, Turtle Boy. I know there's a bunch of Turtle riders out there, his supporters, his listeners. But what's your take on this crowd? Is this his crowd? Is this people from the city of Canton who've gotten wind of what's going on? Like, what is really the genesis and the makeup of all these folks that are showing up at that historical courthouse?
Well, Turtle Boy's done a really good job of sort of galvanizing this large group of people. And I wouldn't say these are necessarily Cantonites. These are people from all over Massachusetts. And these are people who are incredibly passionate about their belief that this is a cover-up and that Karen Reed has been framed, and they're all over the state. You know, we cover a bunch of stories, but this is the story that people always come up and ask me, hey, what are your thoughts on this? What have you heard about this? There's something about this story that's just caught the attention of everyone here in Massachusetts, and I know that there's national interest in it too.
Oh, big time. Big time. So I want to take, since I have you here, I want to take advantage and go through some of the evidence in this case with you and get your take on this evidence and anything else that you know about it. Let's begin. I want to take a listen. This is Adam Lally, District Attorney, talking about the cocktail glass evidence.
All right, here it is.
Which I think is extremely
All right, this is the part. This is the Q&A
prosecution.
where he asks him this question, and listen to how he answers
to the
it.
right rear corner panel of the defendant's vehicle. Embedded within the bumper to that vehicle is pieces of a cocktail glass. The victim, Mr. O'Keefe, is last observed on surveillance video, external surveillance video from the waterfall establishment that he left just prior to going to 34 Fairview, with a cocktail glass in his right hand. Same arm is injured, the same type of glass that is then recovered from the bumper of the defendant's car.
So Ted, what's your take on the significance of this cocktail glass and the fragments that were allegedly found?
Yeah, the prosecution needs a way to explain what appear to be those puncture wounds on John O'Keefe's arm. And it appears that this might be a way that they're going to go about doing this, that John O'Keefe had this cocktail glass, and when he was hit and it broke and somehow shattered or somehow dragged his arm. You're looking at the picture right there. And, you know, normally when something like having a cocktail glass would be that important, but
we got to press pause right there.
As we...
They're going to try and say that a cocktail glass caused these, these marks. You guys, this is absurd. I want to know what medical professional is going to raise their hand and say, pick me. I'm going to get on the stand and I'm going to tell you that those are from a cocktail glass. You guys, come on, man. You guys. Like, who is going to commit career suicide? That's career suicide, in my opinion. Now, what I think would be worse, who would ever believe that? How would you be able to tell me that I was holding a glass and I got struck by a car and that this glass didn't just go flying out of my hand, but then I somehow landed on it and was just rubbing my arm up and down, you know, this glass that's on the ground that I'm getting, I don't know, going back and forth on. I have no idea why I'd be going back and forth on it, because if Karen Reed hit me, okay. I just can't wait to see Alan Jackson in the courtroom saying, so let's go ahead and take a glass here and let's go ahead and just take, you know, human flesh here. Come on, man. Get out of here. You know, and I just want to know what medical professional is going to get up there and say that. And then what freaking civilian is going to sit there and go back into a deliberating room and say, yeah, I totally think that cocktail glass did that. Versus like versus like a dog. But here, I like the way how he swung the question after it was asked of him. because he's like, well, what do you think about this, cocktail? The cocktail, it was found in the bumper of the car, allegedly. It was planted evidence, though. So I think once you prove that one thing was planted, the rest of the evidence, in my opinion, doesn't matter. You're going to be able to show that your investigation's fucked, for lack of better words. You show me one piece of evidence that was planted, and I don't care what it's as a juror for me, I'm out. Like, you're not getting me to say guilty. I'm done. You planted evidence. Who plants evidence? Cheaters plant evidence. Bye. It's all in question then, absolutely. And there's no way that you're going to be able to get me to change my not guilty to a guilty unless you pay me some sick ass millions and millions of dollars. And even then, as much as it would be just so tempting to take, I still couldn't do it. You want me to put somebody away for the rest of their life for murder, for money? Well, there's a lot of people out there, though, that would. So they're going to have to buy the jury, okay, if they want to see that Karen Reed is found guilty. I don't even think this should be going to trial, okay? This shouldn't go to trial. And Karen Reed should be a wealthy woman, but maybe you want it to go to trial so that you can prove that the evidence was in fact planted, so that you have a stronger lawsuit against these pieces of shit, but nobody wants to go. I'm sure that Karen Reed just wants her life back, right? But I'm just saying it's hard to, if something gets thrown out, then you're just, maybe you want that acquittal so that you can improve your innocence at this point. And so people for the rest of your life can't say, oh, she really killed him. She just got off because she had some really good attorneys, or whatever line of crap they want to use. You know what I mean? I know I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to live the rest of my life like that. So let's bring it on. But to sit here and try to say that a cocktail glass right there did that, there's no way as a prosecutor you could get me to argue that. I would tell you, again, to take that and shove that. I am not going to get Marsha Clarked up there, okay? I am not going to look like a complete fucking fool, all right? I didn't go to law school and have all these student loan debts so I could get up there and tell a 12-person panel insult their intelligence and then make me look like the biggest. I'm going to, for the rest of my life, be known as the cocktail, horrible, cocky attorney. Okay, no way. Get out of here. You want to do that? Then you get your fat ass over here, DA, and you prosecute this case. I'm not prosecuting this. Fire me then. I'll go do private practice, and I'll whistleblow on your asses. Lana would be the defense lawyer yelling back at the judge, no, you're out of order. Well, we'll get to that. Lana's working on her decorum. It's really important to be on point when you are speaking in a courtroom, because you want to show respect to, obviously the magistrate, the judge, but for the process. But this is just so hard to take seriously. Marsha Clark, LOL, love it. Yeah, I'm not going to get Marsha Clark. And if you have any pride in yourself, like, how can you Matt's got objection speculation. I'm objecting to myself. You guys, I can't. It's an inside joke right now, but you guys will not be left in the dark much longer. Okay, guys, we are 3 minutes away. I told you this is going to be covering 4 different cases, but we are 3 minutes away from calling back Moscow Police Department. And I do want to show you guys, I'm telling you, the people that work in Moscow that take the phone calls and that, handle your reports and get you the things. I have said this since day one, and I want to keep saying this. They are truly awesome. They have always been a delight to work with, to handle any of our requests. Like I said, we were the ones that put out all the body cam footage for everything that took place at that house leading up to the murders. And that's going to be used in court. I don't care what anybody says. That's going to be used in court to show that house was what it was. And that people could just be coming and going. And But if we don't put that out on this channel, it never gets out. So is it going to give more of a fair trial? I think so, absolutely. And like I said, I think the families, I would want to see that stuff because I think each and every one of their kids handled themselves absolutely, I think, perfectly. You know, they were respectful. Their kids having fun, and they weren't doing anything wrong. Okay. If anything, I feel like the other kids that didn't live there were taking advantage of them. You know, and they're the ones that were lying. We don't know who lives here. We have no idea. They're not here. Weird, you know, weird. Alpha Kappa Lambda. Yeah, that's the fraternity that Caden Young was the president of. Okay. But it's also the fraternity that Vaughn was in. And what Critical Thinking Cap is saying is that Alpha Kappa Lambda knows exactly what went down that night. So does Bethany and Molly Gray, in my humble opinion. And I totally agree that people have started talking in that fraternity as they had a different idea about it. And people thought that they all got a bad batch, remember? And that it was a bad batch. And then it was stabbing. So then it was like a cover up for the bad batch. And then that kind of went away and it was just what it was to us right now. So again, Judge, Lana, you're in contempt. Lana says, yeah, whatever. What's new? No, you're in contempt. No, this is me. Can you stop answering for the other party and let them answer? Your Honor, can you just let them answer? Because I'm loving these speaking objections here. These testifying objections. What is the objection? Your Honor, unresponsive. I'm going to ask you to please get the witness to answer the question. If they're a yes or no question, I would ask that it be a yes or no answer. There's no open-ended shit here when I'm fucking crossing you. Isn't it true? Damn you. Did you cause trouble in school? Actually, no. Because I actually believe in rules. I believe in organization. I believe in organized crime. No, I'm kidding. I just believe that, hey, you have rule. You do what you're supposed to, man. Be polite. You know, treat people how you want to be treated. You know, stop fucking lying. And when you get caught being a pervert, admit it, right? I know as a straight female, I would never be sending a bisexual or gay woman my nudes so that I could get case information. I could tell you that right now. Now you can ask yourselves what you would do. What would Jesus do? I don't think that. Can I get some case information? Hell no, she was a jock, yeah. I kept to myself. I had no reason. I loved my teachers. My teachers were awesome. I made sure that I got all the coaches to be my teachers. I fluffed up my schedule. Jesus would flip the table, says Critical Thinking. All right, guys, here we go. We're calling Moscow. Actually, I'm going to give them 3 more minutes so they can get in, settle for the day. There's no reason for me to, go too ham on them. Hey, home team there, do we have that number for Vaughn up? He's probably got to get ready for his work day. So I think I want to call him. I think I brought home a book maybe once or twice in high school, and I managed to get a 3.2 or higher every grading period. I wish I would have studied. If I would have studied, I would have gotten 4.0. If it doesn't interest me, it doesn't interest me. You know, though, I'm thinking that I want to talk to also Flannery. So she can connect me both. And then I want to speak to the second police officer that does not get mentioned. So there's actually 3 messages. And then I need 1 extra report on the 2:40 a.m. alarm. Just to double check that. AKL is the initials for the fraternity. Okay. In case you guys wanted to know that. When they're doing that. I love it. All right. 1 more minute and then we're going to call. I was curious. Moscow Police Department, I was curious if I could be a ride-along in January. I'm going to be in town. And I was just wondering, I wanted to ride along with none other than Rosie. He just whistles like you wouldn't believe. And I just want to listen to that while I am riding along. No. Nope, you can't. No, you guys actually can. You can like pick who you want to ride with. I am just asking that the whole time that body cam be on because I do not trust y'all. Can I wear my own body cam? What are the rules here? Nope, you cannot wear your own body cam. Yes, I can. What could possibly go wrong with Lana's? I would what? I need 5 body cams. I want all angles coming at me. And then all of you guys just call in the weirdest stuff so that we get to go out there and be hands-on as much as we can. You're going to be like, we haven't gotten this many calls since after the Idaho4. Imagine that. All right, here we go.
Moscow Police.
Hi, is this the non-emergency line?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, great. Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm actually calling to actually get some more clarification and more information on I can give you it's for like a report. I don't know if you need to transfer me or if that just, yeah. So it's 23, the incident number is 23-M00245.
Okay.
And my question is there's a report that actually goes with it from the alarm being, set off. And I believe it was 240 from Main Street. It would just be on the 9th at 2:40 a.m. So like this is when Vaughn woke up and he said he saw on his basically Ring camera that he had noticed that there was what appeared to be police officers, but he wanted to make sure that they were police officers because he was under the impression that they were fake police officers. That was the narrative there. And I went ahead and saw in that report, in the narrative, that Hathaway checked with and confirmed through the call logs. I checked with the call logs and confirmed. So he doesn't say that he confirmed with Officer Flattery, but I went ahead and looked into that and saw that the alarm that they're referring to was at 2:40 a.m. on Main Street. So I'm curious if I can get, I need to speak with 3 people, leave 3 messages, and I need to get that extra report from the 2:40 a.m. alarm that happened on Main Street.
Okay, do you have a case number for that one?
See, that's the one I'm having a hard time coming up with. we had done our, I thought I did a request. It's the same day. It's January 9th. Let's see. Let me take a look. I have a bunch of notes here. And I believe when I had said that I asked for all the audio and video, that Vaughn had submitted his recording of the 3:30 footage, and that wasn't included in my report.
Okay, can I get your name really quick so
Yeah.
I can look up your request and everything?
Yes, absolutely. Basically, I think that there's some confusion here. That what I think Hathaway went and looked up isn't. There's no way that could be the same incident because they're too far apart. Like a burglary alarm that would go off on Main Street would have nothing to do with why two people would be approaching to try to enter a home on 1118 King Road. Those can't be two of the same. It can't be the same incident. And so I just thought it'd be best just to get clarification on this by either speaking directly with Detective Hathaway. Flattery was the one officer. I'm still missing the other because there were two officers that allegedly responded. And I don't know if Officer Hathaway is just mistaken when he did his, follow up, but to confirm that it was Officer Flattery, he didn't use any other ways to confirm this other than checking a call log. And the call log that he is actually referring to is a 2:40 a.m. burglary alarm that was sent in where Main Street is. So,
Yeah, without seeing that report, I have no way of confirming which one. And Officer Flaherty doesn't work for our department anymore, and Sergeant Hathaway isn't on shift today. I'm more than happy to get you to his voicemail if you'd like.
Okay, can you
leave him a message?
Now, what should be also in the report is that there should be. It said that there was two officers. Is there a way that I would be able to obtain that second officer?
Like I said, without knowing that report.
Oh, okay. So if I can get you that actual number, you can pull up that. Is that what you're basically saying? Okay.
Yep.
Can you just give me 1 second here while I look in my notes to pull that up? I know that I have that.
Okay.
Okay, just 1 second here. I'm going to put you on hold for just a second. Go into my comment section of my video from last night. The incident number mods is in there. Somebody put the 3 incident numbers that took place on January 9th leading up into that 3:30 a.m. time. If you can write it in here to help me speed it up, that'd be great. again. So we have, it was Officer Flattery. The date was January 9th at 2:40 a.m. Officer Flattery reported to Main Street for a burglary alarm that was sent in through like a security company.
I'm just looking through the calls from that day. 1 second.
Okay, no problem. Take your time. I understand.
So there was a burglary alarm on King Road on the 9th.
What time was that at?
I think this one was it was reported to us at 3:13 in the morning.
Okay, and then so can I get that report?
I can give you the case number.
Okay, what's the case number?
It's going to be 23-M as in Mary 00242.
And then can I also have the one that was at 2:40?
I'm not seeing one for 240 on the 9th.
Okay. And then, okay, so I'll put that in right now. And then, as far as obtaining though, in that request, do you guys have the video that was submitted by Vaughn for the?
So on the 245 request?
Yeah, on the one that you guys had sent me.
No, there's no attached videos to that.
Okay. So between 3:13 a.m. and 3:30 a.m., there were 2 other calls that night.
So the suspicious for the 245 that you requested came in at 10 o'clock in the morning. So between 3 and 10, there were 2 other calls, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So between 3 and 10 a.m. Okay, and then on this report, you can probably clarify this for me. It says that contact Vaughn in the MPD lobby. So did he physically come to?
I haven't reviewed the officer's body cam on this, and I wouldn't be able to tell you anyways, but if you said if it says contact at MPD lobby, that means that he is at the police station.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. That's what I thought it meant. And now when I had done this, I had asked to have the body cam, and we didn't receive any of that. Is there a reason for that?
Without talking with our legal department, or I don't know why that wouldn't have been released. It doesn't say in the request. Oh, it says right here. There was no video, no body cam.
So there was no body cam from
Sergeant Hathaway at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, perfect. So when I'm going to go ahead and put this request in for the 3:13 a.m. At, the 23M00242, is there body cam with that so I can put that in my report?
I wouldn't know without doing the search for it.
Okay, perfect. So I'll just go ahead and include that. And now my last question is I know that when you guys do the 911, so I've had to deal with Boundary County and Bonners County and Kootenai County, okay? And I go straight to them with the dispatch to be able to get 911 calls. Is that something that I have to do differently, like how I do with them and ask for those 911 calls differently, because I'm able to get the 911 calls from those other counties when I deal specifically with the county dispatch. So I'm just wondering if maybe I'm not correctly requesting it in order then to obtain it. Does that make sense, ma'am?
Yeah. Yep. So how you need to word it if you'd like to have the 911 calls, because we don't have a dispatch center in our office. We have a regional dispatch center that works over the Quad Cities area.
Okay.
And so you need to specifically say that you'd like the 911 audio, if that's what you'd like, and we'll submit a request to our dispatch center for it. But if it's not a 911 call, then you're not going to get the 911. There's not going to be 911 audio.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So basically, if they were to call if they called the non-emergency line, like it's not recorded?
No, they're still recorded. You'll just have to say that you'd like the dispatch audio.
Thank you. So there, see how there is that difference then? Like, I would have to specifically say I want the dispatch audio versus the 911 call, right?
That's correct.
Thank you. I knew that there was a little something that was going on tricky, and I figured it out when I was starting to deal with Bonners in Boundary County. And you guys are awesome because you guys have been so helpful to be able, when I have questions, you guys always seem to have the answer. So I just want to say thank you. And I will go ahead and resubmit this for the 23M00242 3:13 a.m. And then if I could be transferred, like you said, to Officer Detective, sorry, I forget what he goes by, Hathaway, to leave him a message. That way he can get back to me at his convenience. I know it's crazy around the holidays.
Yeah, it's Sergeant.
Okay, Sergeant. Okay, I didn't know if he was a detective. Okay.
Okay, 1 second.
Sergeant. Thank you.
This is Sergeant David Hathaway with the Moscow Police Department. If you leave a message, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
I'll record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or stay on the line for further options.
Hello, this message is for Sergeant Hathaway. Good morning. I was told by dispatch that you were actually not in today, but I wanted to go ahead and leave a message. This is Lana or and I am calling about an incident that occurred January 9th in the middle of the night, and just wanted to talk to you and get some clarification on the incident. I'll give you the number so you can already have it. 23M00245. It was a suspicious approach to a house as the reporting party believed that the people that were approaching their house were dressed up as police officers. So I noticed that you took the complaint, the call, and I noticed your narrative. And so I wanted just to get some clarification. And that's about it. So if I could just have a call back from you, that will do it. Thank you so much for your time there, Sergeant Hathaway. Again, all right. Boom. Okay. Now, boom. We've always thought this whole time that this was a 911 call, right? Well, what if in fact it wasn't a 911 call and in fact they just called the regular line? So there's different ways to request this, and I wanted to do all this in real time so that you guys could see the work is put in here at Truth and Transparency through myself, the mods, even you guys when I'm doing something and I write in and I say, hey, go and look and see if you can grab this or whatever. So we are going to resubmit a couple of these, but notice how there has been not one single 911 call to come out of Moscow, Idaho since and before this incident, the Idaho4 case, okay? Same thing with the Brett Kopaka case, all right? Well, guys, I'm telling you, you have to be so specific in how you request these FOIA requests. You have to be so specific because the people that are working to try to go and grab those, if they can't find them, it's not that they don't want to give them over. They legit can't find them because of how you were describing it, where you were telling them to go get it. So you got to take the time, have some conversations with people. But if you want information, it's there. I don't think everybody is corrupt. That is not how the world works. All right. You just have to have conversations with people, develop relationships with people, be kind to people, and tell them what you're looking for and if they can help you. Because we have a right to this information. And so they cannot try to withhold this information from us. All right. And pay attention if you're gonna, want to record something, make sure it's a one-party state unless you're letting people know about it, which Idaho is a one-party state. So again, channel name here is Truth and Transparency. Those will be put in. They've already actually been put in. We multitask around here. So I'll be looking forward to Mr. Hathaway's phone call. We'll see where it goes. And now they're saying that there was 3:13 a.m. So the alarm went off at 3:13 a.m. And like I said, that guy then did go down to the police department as he was waiting in the lobby because he wanted to do what? Show his phone. He wanted to show who these people were. Here, take a look. And now I just got to go back to this, which is why in the world would you ever think that they're fake cops? Well, I'm telling you, we're going to find out here in the next 24 hours because I have a pretty strong feeling that Mr. Vaughn's going to come on or Mr. Vaughn's friend is going to speak on the behalf of that. There was multiple people living at 11118 King Road. All right. And clearly something set off an alarm. And that is at the same time frame of when the murders were either about to occur, already had occurred, 3 to 4 a.m. All right. Moving on to Delphi, Indiana. Again, this is a 4-case thing, 4-case live. Delphi. Woo! I'm going to ask some very controversial things here. Delphi is a very small community, even the areas around it. And so when you go back and you watch, different lives or interviews that the family has done, you got to ask yourself, if you read the 136 pages that were put out by Rossi and Baldwin and you believe in their work, which I do, then I strongly have to start asking questions to, unfortunately, Abby's mom, Anna, who Brad Holder was and is the dad of the boy that she was dating, okay? And she speaks about it in one of her interviews. And so much so that it was like she disregarded it, like that, he was getting all this hell on social media and that he had nothing to do with it, yada, 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 right? Well, we actually get the reports now based off of the investigation that Alan's attorneys are doing, and it tells a different story. So my question is as a parent, if I'm Anna, I had your back, bro, and now I'm reading this stuff. I have a problem, right? I have a serious problem with what's going on. And I would want some answers. So my question is to all of you guys, if you were Abby's mom, would you pick up the phone and would you call Brad Holder and say, what is this shit I am reading in this? What is all of this? I think the only way that you don't call is if you already know the answers. I know me. I'm calling. Shit, I'm going to that dude's home. Right? And I'm going to knock on the door and I'm going to go there with, probably a male and knock on the door. So hold on one here. Stop sharing screen. Go to this one. Delphi, Indiana. Yep, not if you already know. Exactly. Not if you already know. If I already know something, I don't need to do something, right? Oh. You know who knows a lot about Delphi? Who lives and breathes Delphi is Bella. Bella living and breathing Delphi. Let me pull something up for you guys. A new doc drop? Oh, what do we got? New docs. Love new docs. Now we were... Let's see. Jesus. Let me grab those. I'm going to use good old Hector here. Usually when people are dressed up as cops and attempting to gain entry to a home, it's for the purpose of robbery. Just saying. Interesting. Thank you. What are the new docs? Let's see. I need to pour that into this over here so I can keep. I got all these glasses over here. Let's share a screen. Where you at, Hector? You better be looking prettier today. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Back that out. Okay. All these pages. Gall about lost her shit because they, this is all public. Gall still hasn't made it through this. Okay. Here we go. And now Exhibit J. This was trying to be kept out of the record. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. Now, I believe that there's extreme bias in this case. Okay. And I want to know what you guys think as far as bias go. Do you think that Gall has a problem with Rossi and Baldwin? Okay. And the answer for me is, hell yeah, she has a problem. Okay. Rossi and Baldwin just put this case on blast. Like, And she's over here like, well, you're kind of taking this out of my hands now when you're going and making this stuff public, right? So why would anybody want this off the record? Why would anybody, the attorney general, why would the attorney general have such a big problem with the email exchanges between Baldwin, Rossi, the judge, and Nick? Like, what's the problem? Why? That's part of what, this is your timeline of events. You can't just take stuff out of a timeline and say, yeah, this is what happened. Because that's not accurate, you know? And so here, I want to point out that I just get a kick out of this. So I'm going to point this out. Because I've never seen this in my life. I've never seen the DA, your prosecutor, say that that he's been the one to investigate and that he has been investigating for 17 days. You're investigating something for 17 days that is a misdemeanor when you should be preparing for a double murder. I want to know the relationship between Mitch Westerman and how he knows Robert. Okay? No. I want to know how Mitch Westerman knows the guy that committed suicide. Yes. Yes. Because I want to know, remember I left off on this. I said, guys, come on now. Let's think about this. The ultimate betrayal. Why would Mitch Westerman go into his office, Baldwin's, and take this to do what with it? Did Robert Fortson pay him a ton of money to buy these? No. You know what I mean? Did somebody pay Mitch Westerman a ton of money to go and cause this freaking problem? Because it doesn't make sense. This makes zero sense. Did you say what those docs were for?
Yeah, so it's for transfer from the Department of Correction. And what it is I sent you this article, right?
They're trying to transfer him, yeah.
What?
Yeah, they're trying to transfer him. So, let's see. It is currently 3:53 a.m. and I just got off the phone with ISP. From the phone conference that the four of us had on Tuesday afternoon, the 10th, Andy Baldwin informed us that Mitch Westerman went into his conference room sometime in August and took pictures of evidence in this case and then leaked it or forwarded those pictures to an individual by the name of Robert Fortson. Robert Fortson then leaked or forwarded them on down the chain, and eventually it was made public that the documents were leaked. Now, does any of that sound freaking like just... So you spent 17 days investigating this. That means would you be able to get probable cause as to see the bank records of these people that were involved and to see if any money, would you be asking them questions like, why did you do this? Why is Baldwin talking about this as the ultimate betrayal? Robert Fortson met with ISP detectives but refused to answer any questions and stated that he wanted an attorney. Soon after that, we had our phone conference between the four of us. At 10 p.m. last night, Robert Fortson committed suicide.
My source who lives there said it was reported as a murder and they were supposed to give me an article of that. So if anyone's from that area, have they heard that on the news, on the local news? right when it happened.
We have a source that says that right when this happened, that this incident was first reported as a murder. So, but right after he refused to talk to police, he wanted a lawyer. He's found with, he's found dead. The initial information that I have is that his wife stated that he was worried sick about being in the situation. Who would be worried sick about being in a situation that you put yourself in, right?
But contradictory statements, because she also reported that he said as long as he tells the truth, everything would be fine. So which is it?
And then what you hear Bella talk about in the background there is that those would actually be contradictory statements to him saying that if he just tells the truth, everything's going to be fine. So, again, he was sick about being in the situation. And the last info that I have is that Robert stated to his wife that if I just be honest or come clean about where I got the photos, I will be okay. I am not sure if this is the appropriate way to notify everyone of this, but it is 4 a.m. and this is the latest in the bizarre twists in this case. Well, he says this is the latest in the bizarre twists in this case. So, Nick, can you please explain to us what the other twists are in this case? Because what do you deem as twists? What do you mean the latest twists? What were I think, yeah, and Rossi said that, Mod Squad, that, this stuff has been out there for a while. Before we ever came onto this case, there's been leaks, okay? You want to go spending 17 days, in my opinion, when you would sit down and talk to somebody, okay, yeah, a leak happened, but to investigate it to what extent, why would the defense leak this? That makes no sense. Why would the defense, after they just drop the biggest bomb in a 136-page, plus all the exhibits, I mean, there's all the work that they put in, why would the defense ever do this?
Well, explain also about why the defense would want pictures like that out there that would incriminate and make people furious with their client even more.
Well, the defense does not want those photos out. Yeah. And quite frankly, they all knew that they would eventually come out, but the defense wouldn't want those out. Who would want those out? Maybe nobody would want those out, but they need something to happen in order for Gall to do what she did. Gall can't do what she did without something happening. Okay? Without something happening. And then here, when you have Gall responding, let's take a look. Let's really kind of dissect what Gall wrote in this email, because I think it's very telling. Okay. I want to know how much ex parte communication Gall has had with the prosecution. So good morning, gentlemen. Now look at, this was the 8th. So when they had this was before she found out. Okay.
This is the 8th of October?
This is the 8th of October. This is before the email that we just read.
Okay.
But this was when she was told, and they had that 4-way conference with like all the lawyers. And this is what she is basically. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for passing this troubling information along to me. The troubling information is that when Baldwin wanted to make it known that when they found that there was this leak, he then said, hey, it came from Mitch Westerman. He came into my office and took photos. I had no idea. So remember this guy, Rick Snay, came into our live broadcast. He's the one like Delphi After Dark. And it was because I was showing on my live. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Going around touring, talking about how he's seen all these crime scene photos. It's like, is this guy a moron? Until he came in here to tell me, I don't even know what he's talking about, but I'm just like, you're a moron. And I stand by that. So yeah. So yeah, there's that. There's that. So yeah, there's that. Since I've been made aware of this information, I am making some assumptions that I would like a response to. 1, I assume that law enforcement is investigating. No, you're wrong. Nick, the prosecutor, is investigating with law enforcement. Number 2, I'm assuming the local contact creator, Rick Snay, has been interviewed. Yes, he's being interviewed all over YouTube. Number 3, I assume the individuals named have been interviewed. And that would be Murder Sheet, right? I assume law enforcement has demanded the return of the photographs in the possession of Rick Snay and the Murder Sheet people, right?
Like I said before, all of the YouTubers that have gotten that info, why were they told to just go ahead and delete it? And when they called those that called law enforcement to report it, why wasn't it looked into?
You have to get closer if you're going to talk. Okay, so again, we're assuming here. I assume that Brad and Andy have provided the name of their staff member and the uninvolved third party to Nick for interview by law enforcement. I recall communication back in December. And so she's talking about this, this email that went out that wasn't supposed to, and it was an honest mistake. I recall our communication back in December regarding an email from Andy to Brad, which contained discovery information. It was just an outline, but was sent to the wrong Brad and Andy's address book. Has that individual been interviewed? Could that be the source of the leak? I am also recalling a bill I received from Brad and Andy for duplication of exhibits by a vendor, which I disallowed. Is it possible that vendor is involved? Brad and Andy should share the name of that vendor and the date that vendor was hired to Nick or law enforcement to investigate as a possible source of the leak. Whoopsies. Here we go. Look at Gull. Look at Gull not knowing the law. Then Gull says, these local content creators are not journalists and have no right to claim any type of privilege. What do you think about that?
I think there's a lot that aren't. I think it's very, now with what we do, having a journalist degree.
You don't need a journalist degree to be a journalist.
Me having a journalist degree, I feel that there is people don't vet. Like, look at News Nation, right? They're journalists, but they what? What's their source? They do. Back in the day, you couldn't one source anything to vet it. You couldn't go out and one source your name.
Yeah, you could never have like how you had Xana's mom on and her just saying that Ann Taylor had her power of attorney and just running with that.
You couldn't also come up with the WSU firing Brian Koberger without vetting that.
Yeah, having that brought on there, that channel.
How careful. You had to go all the way in and vet it. But let me just tell you something that you might not know about Gull is she made it very possible right after all this. She did a line form to make it so that law enforcement can interview Richard Allen without notifying his defense counsel. Okay, this, you guys, thank goodness the Supreme Court is looking into this, because all of these tiny or big or however you want to look at it actions, no matter, this isn't about his innocence or his guilt. This is about our Constitution, okay? So
this affects all of us.
Right. So imagine this. You are in prison because you're accused of a horrible crime. Whether you did it, you didn't, you still have rights, okay? But let's say you did it. Let's play that card. And the judge orders that law enforcement can interview you at any time and not notify the defense who is repping you.
That is absurd. absurd. So these local content creators are not journalists. They should divulge to law enforcement who they got these photographs from to allow law enforcement to continue to investigate. And we should talk about some money. She doesn't say that. The photographs must be returned to law enforcement. If they refuse to turn them over voluntarily, I will issue an order directing the immediate return, or they will be subject to contempt of court. Now, Bella's source, multiple sources, right, had said that anybody that received these, law enforcement told them just to delete them.
When those content creators actually were reaching out to law enforcement saying, we got these emails. Now, every creator didn't do this. Some creators were like, because they asked for money. They said, hey, we will give you these things if you give us money. Some content creators were like, let me call law enforcement. Some were like, whatever, some bought them, right? When they contacted law enforcement told them, this is what my sources tell me. Law enforcement told them, just, hey, go ahead and delete them. Delete that email, delete everything. Why not look into who is sending this out? Why not be transparent? If Richard Allen is guilty, get him the right way. Anybody who is guilty, get them the right way, or they will walk on appeal.
And my thing is, though, is I don't think people should have to wait for an appeal. I am with these motions saying, wait a second. No. We don't have to wait until a trial happens and then do our appeal, because that's when we have to appeal. There is a remedy right now. And the remedy right now is I want to go to the Supreme. I want the Supreme Court to step in. The Supreme Court is who can step in right now and give us what we need right now, because it's going to be too late. And I think they moved Richard Allen. So
3 hours away.
3 hours away. They moved Richard Allen 3 hours away. 3 hours away. So his attorneys have to drive 3 hours to go see him. Or do Zoom, which then I don't trust any of that, because that's all recorded. They're just going to watch that. I mean, come on, man. It's 3 hours. This is a guy that should, in my opinion, be in. If Donald Adelson wants to be on house arrest, Richard Allen should be on house arrest. All right. He should be in county. You cannot be people that are not found guilty yet. You cannot be putting them in max security prisons. Like, how does anybody think that any of that is okay? Or they will walk on technicality, which is horrific. Absolutely, Mod Squad. That's how I feel. If Brian Kohlberger is so guilty, then y'all keep messing this up and he's going to get away with it. If Richard Allen's so guilty, y'all keep doing this, he's going to get away. So by us asking questions and holding people to a standard that our founding fathers put in position, I don't think that we're in the wrong. I think that you're in the wrong if you don't do the same. Okay.
If you see something, say something, right?
Yeah.
In America, we're afforded those rights. Now imagine living in a country where you don't have those rights. Have you guys ever visited a country like that before? Because I have.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Totally different.
Our freedom is like, I mean, I appreciate our freedom. It's shit. So, but this is a judge writing these type of emails though. And I'm just perplexed that, that this is how she would write an email. Obviously it's a drastic measure. Should I have to take, put anybody in contempt, but each of you have numerous staff and assistants helping you with your work. I am also assuming that you all trust those individuals to maintain the integrity of the case and that you are confident none of those individuals are involved. Please let me know at your earliest convenience what your thoughts are about moving forward. Because this was what was sent before that. See how it says BR?
Go ahead and open what I just sent you.
Yeah, I will. Lana's real value is that she's not on anybody's payroll. She can't be threatened financially or by a loss of her position. Yeah, that's integrity. Yeah. I mean, in a way, people kind of can. The only way that you can is if you get caught up with, I'm here to respect the viewers. I'm here to appreciate the viewers. But I am not going to have a position to gain viewers. You know what I mean? That's my stance on that. I love when people are here, obviously, when people watch, and when people most I want them to engage. I want to see a comment pop up that I was like, oh yeah, that's a great point. Let me highlight that, you know? And sometimes the comment section goes so fast, or, you know, I miss something. But we can actually make a difference. We truly can.
And that's the beauty, right?
Yeah, that's the beauty.
YouTube is that you're not held to, you have to follow TOS.
Well, that's the beauty of having a platform.
Yes.
How about before this ever existed?
No, but the platform, like let's say News Nation's platform, you're still under you have to follow their stuff because it's like, we have people that, you know, sell ads here. You can't say certain things, but that's the beauty of what YouTube
Can you email me? That's all blurry. Oh, wait, here. I think I got it. Yeah.
Is it still blurry? You want me to read it from here?
I can. Yeah, I was in a printer, but notice the court regarding transfer of defendant, the Indiana Department of Corrections, and non-party by counsel respectfully notifies the courts as follow. Defendant Richard Allen was placed under a safekeeping order by this court on November 3rd, 2023.
Now go ahead and figure out how far Wabash is from Fort Wayne. Yes.
Well, you said 3 hours.
No. 3 hours from where he is. It's 3 hours from where he is. Now from Fort Wayne.
I don't know. I've never heard of Wabash.
Okay.
I personally think that he should be housed in. I personally think that they should be having this Franks hearing.
Oh, 100%.
Like now.
Well, I think the
And if they think that they're not gonna, on December 6th, 2023, Mr. Allen was transferred.
I'm pulling it up. So this is how long it takes in one direction from Fort Wayne.
From Fort Wayne, 3 hours and 37 minutes, 287 miles.
So about 7-hour trip a day for these attorneys. Yeah. So will the public
where were these?
Will Nick go? Will Nick go visit him? What is Nick gonna do?
You guys, 3 hours and 37 minutes away is where he's now going to be located from Fort Wayne, which is where his attorneys are, if he was to keep his same attorneys.
And
okay.
They'll travel that. Do you think they'll do that?
Oh, hell yeah. Well, because I think they got a lot out, but I would not be having no Zooms with him. I would never trust that they're going to not look and have those recorded.
Should we call him Baldy, like Baldwin and Rozzy together as Baldy? Or should we just say like
the Baldy Beast?
The Baldy Beast.
Yeah, the Baldy Beast.
Baldies will go.
And Wabash is a better prison than Westerville. Absolutely. We're not denying any of that. 100%. I think anything to get him out of where he is. I think about Ohio and where people say, you don't want to go. And, but if you're at one end if you're in Lorain in Ohio, and then you get transferred down to, Lebanon, I mean, that's a 4-hour trip. Okay. So if your lawyers were out of Cleveland and now that's 4 hours. I mean, that's from tip to tip. I just, for somebody that's not been found guilty, how you can prepare for your defense, especially in this crunch time. I mean, they're thinking about Richard Allen taking the stand, man. They're waiting for something to happen and for Richard Allen, for them to decide, do we put Richard Allen on the stand? And it wasn't until they said that I said, you know what, we need to have a discussion about this, because that is an interesting move, because Richard Allen is no prior, no nothing,
here's the case that they did.
I don't know, man. Richard Allen taking the stand. What do we think? No more secret hearings, no more secret juries, no more secret programs, especially on our dime, says Miss Potts. Hopefully you're feeling better there, Miss Potts. God love you. Why does anything need to be in secret? The only time that something should be in secret is if truly someone's life is at stake with information.
Well, they're going, okay, so the other side of that is to keep an untainted jury pool. If you're talking about the grant, like getting a secret grand jury.
No, I think it's, I don't even think we're talking about that.
Secret, like a.
Yeah, I'm just, you know, people are so upset.
Weird. What's happening with Delphi has been weird from day one.
Yeah. But you know, you got the mix of like now the attorney general just spewing their shit. And
well, thank God the Supreme Court. And that's the whole thing, you guys. Eyes are on these cases, these little towns that have gotten away, you know, potentially gotten away with corruption. Okay.
You know, I've never on one of my lives or anything have I ever gone through every single, you know, order and motion that's been filed throughout since November of 2022. And, you know, just looking at this, we have a right to a speedy trial, and everything that's happening right now is not speedy. In fact, it's flat right. It's unconstitutional, man. If he doesn't have a trial in January, do we understand that this trial that they have is going to be what you would call a mock trial, more or less? But when you print out all of this and you actually like go through all the different dates here, okay, and everything that's gone on, and what motions were filed, and then what orders were made, and then where there's, you know, filings of quashing, and but you want to look at this to be able to tell, obviously, the timeline of this case, but kind of where it's been headed, and all I see is I see the prosecution totally not being, they're going to be so underprepared, it's not even going to be funny. And I think Nick McClelland's making excuses. He wants to put a death on the defense, and that's just sick. You guys were the last ones to speak to that man, and I believe threaten him, because I know how cops are. You know, and again, that's my opinion, and it's also fact. The last people to talk to that man that committed suicide was law enforcement. Period. Like, that is a fact. Why a judge is even having to write about YouTube content creators is just beyond me, you know. But there's inserters out there, you know, there's inserters, and it's just, that's bad. It's bad. Our justice system is broken. He cannot have a trial in January at this point. Everything is pushed back since mid-October until whenever that. Yeah, well, he wants to go to trial,
and he has a right to that.
And if they're ready, they're ready. Like, you're supposed to still prepare. Like, you have no idea what could happen, so you're supposed to, like, Nick McClelland is supposed to still be preparing. And they did all these depositions. They were following a conference. They were following a case order. A management case. Like, here, you have to have this done by this point. You have to have this done by this point. And then now we get all the way to this point, and conveniently there's this, we have to have something happen in order to, we can't go to trial in January.
To stop the clock.
Mm-hmm.
To stay.
And if you want to stop the clock, I think that Richard Allen should be out. He should be out while this is, I'm sorry, but that's how I feel.
Imagine what imagine his wife who's sticking by him, his wife and his mother are constantly in the courtroom for all of these things that have been happening in October, like the October 31st hearing. That was insane. Okay. These people, where are they getting money? And maybe some of you who think he's guilty think, too bad, so sad, you married a murderer, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just saying on a humanity level, right? Where is she getting the money to live with her husband in?
Yeah, she's not
prison?
working. He's not working.
His mother.
Yeah.
Do you understand if he's not guilty? Let's say he's not guilty and something, God forbid, happens. I mean, our checks and balances are here for a reason. That's the point, okay? And our eyes are on Delphi. So
Baldwin and Rossi straight up said they are ready for trial if they're reinstated. The only way that they're not ready is because we want to have this Franks hearing to see what is going to be admissible and what could be suppressed and things like that. But they keep saying it in their motions. They are ready. And I believe that they are ready. Let me tell you why I believe that they are ready. Because they were working on this like you wouldn't believe. They are going for the third party capability defense, and it shows in their work. They've already done all the depositions. Did they possibly want to get a couple more in since more information, had come out maybe in the past month, 2 months, and then this, whole thing happened? But I personally believe that they are ready. That this Franks motion shows me that they're ready. And we're talking about a jury hearing and seeing that an investigation was completely flawed. Like, it's so flawed. So that's, I think, I think that the state sees how ready they are, and they're over here like, wait, what? We just got hit with this Franks, okay? And when you go ahead and you look at all this, they're going to destroy us in court. They're going to destroy all the people that we thought were going to be witnesses. They're going to be able to impeach people, okay? The state is nowhere near ready. I don't think they were nowhere near ready before the Franks came out. But now what they're realizing is, like, we don't have a case. Fuck us being ready. We don't have a case against this man.
Oh, they believe they have a case.
Oh, they can say that so they can PR it all they want, but they're sitting back there behind closed doors saying, what the F? What the F? How, God, they're going to say this to you. They're going to ask you this, and then they're going to go and use your statements here. Then they're going to go use your statements there. And now we have, a multiple police officers and law enforcement agents that are.
Well, just like we have a right, we have that right to a speedy trial. Okay, so when you charge somebody, you're ready to charge them. You should have the evidence to charge them. And now they want a speedy trial. You give it to them. That's written in our rights. So.
I think they've continued to work. I think that they've continued to work. I think that these guys are very, they're veterans. And I think that speaking, because you would have to tell yourselves that, hey, we're going to have to continue to stay fresh and know this and to keep plowing through. You can tell me all day to stop doing whatever. Okay, I'm no longer on this. I can do whatever I want on my own time. Okay, I can do whatever I want on my own time. I'm not getting paid for it. The state ain't paying me for it. But you don't have the right to tell me that I have to cease and not do anything with a case for like a week before. That is insanity.
A week? Like, how many days did it really end up being? Close to 14.
Was it? I thought it was like.
No, it was over a week.
She asked them to stop anything on what? The 12th? And then it was the 19th?
No.
We'll pull up the date. I think that's a week.
It was something like the 8th. It was very early. It was after this, right after this, I think it was the 9th actually. She told them to stop until the day that she had that conference.
We were missing sound for a second there. We got two nurses on deck here. Nothing worse when your little baby is fever and sick and their birthday's coming up. Right, Bubba? He is the best trooper. We had a craft night last night. Can I see my craft over there?
You want to see yours?
I will show all three canvases, and you guys can see who you think made what.
I'm not done, but yeah, no, show them all.
Okay, so we had paint night personally here. Okay, so.
Can I show Jax's from the other day?
Well, we're not going to say whose is who, so bringing the three over. So this was the first one. He said okay. Let me see the other ones. We'll see who did it best. Here you go.
We can't vote on who did. Look at there's names on these things. What is going on?
This is my favorite.
This is sabotage. Here.
Look.
Can we show Jax's
Oh, here.
from the other? But my favorite is Jax's original.
Let's see this one.
Okay, but can we do the original? Mine's not done.
Did we have canvas night?
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite?
Shrubs.
Yeah.
Good thing I just said out loud.
It's all right, buddy.
Jaxie.
We love them all.
We gotta show yours. Can you show everybody that?
Jax is going to be the best artist ever. Oh, yeah, here.
Now, please explain this one. This is genius. You guys, he's 7.
What do you think? So this is the Christmas tree. Then you put my mirror up.
Mirror. Look what's in the mirror.
So there's a mirror to show the Christmas tree right over there. And then this is that the window?
It's the window.
Oh, yeah.
Is that behind my desk? Is that my desk?
Is that your desk? Yeah.
Okay.
And what is that on top? What is that on the wall?
What's that?
That is my mom's big world painting.
World painting.
Look at what he did, you guys. Come on. He is 7.
You did good, Bubba.
My favorite was.
Love you so much. Give me a high five for that one. With that one right there that you did.
Me?
Yes, you.
You put a star on top.
I didn't.
Is that's not a star?
Oh, yeah.
What about my angel? I think the angel would have been hard.
Yeah,
This is my favorite. That's the one I vote for.
This is my favorite.
Yours is the tree?
No. This one.
Yeah, the tree.
We don't know if that's a tree yet.
We don't know if his dad does.
Oh, God.
This is so good. Did you see what's on the
There you go. I'm not done with mine yet.
You're not?
No, I'm doing my presents underneath it.
I know you are. That's true. Give it up.
Who needs paint night when you can just do it here, man?
That was paint night.
That's what I'm saying. Who needs to go out and do paint night? Do it right here.
You want to fix it?
So
I want to do that too. We'll do that in a second, like in 30 minutes.
we do fun stuff.
Right now?
You did good, Bubs. Yeah. He's not feeling well, so he woke up in the middle of the night with a fever and trying to nurse him back to health. That Ariane piece is on point, though, isn't it? Wait to see my presents underneath. I'm gonna put every mod with a present. I'm a professional artist. Your son's paintings are great, dude. We got him last year. He got art academy lessons. He's a lefty too. So, but yeah, we interrupt your broadcast to bring you paintings of life. That's the next level thinking. Yeah, his brain is just ooh. I know. Yeah, so we're Detective and Nurse Lana over here. Reminds me of Good Night, Moon. Yeah. Thank you for the kind words. Oh, I hope you get better. Yeah, it was, I mean, I'm almost there. I can still feel my congestion, but my sinuses got all whacked out, I think. And when I was traveling, it really messed it up. So, oh, lefties are cool. Southpaw, yep. And now for the corner portion of our program, yeah. And now for how we should make sure that we do what we should that's important in our lives, which is our families. Yeah, he's a lefty. He's really good at soccer. Soccer is going to be his sport. He makes me play all the time. And I'm over here like, God, why didn't I have another kid? No. Every day. Oh, thank you for that. Yep. God bless. All right. And we're going to close up and out with the cases of Shanna Gardner. You guys, if you've been watching the Adelson case, Charlie Adelson, Mark Hell, the Florida murder for hire. Oh, wait. You know what? Hold on 1 second. There it is. You guys all need, if you guys are doing, this is what Jack's got from, did you get this from Elf? Yep. A fingerprinting kit.
Can he rate it? Because he likes rating.
Okay. So I recommend this fingerprinting kit as it teaches you all about the different fingerprints that you would be looking for. And then
I'll rate that thing a 2.
You want to grade it?
I'll rate it 2.
You only rated 2? Why?
It doesn't work.
You don't think it works? You want to try my fingerprints, see if it works?
No.
What do I have?
You have to put it on.
Where did you get like the tape? Did you use tape or something?
There's tape right there. That's the tape.
Oh, this is the tape.
That's the lifting tape.
Okay. So did he go around dusting the place?
Absolutely.
Did he dust the windows? Because I bet you could.
Stain stuff, so don't open that.
Okay, this is stained?
Yeah, it's stained stuff, so you have to be really careful.
Okay.
Like a thing like that, so you want to do that every time. So
Well, I wanted to take a look and I wanted to see what my fingerprint looked like as far as the loopy swoopy.
Put it on your desk right there on like the shiny part of your desk, and we'll have him lift it.
You think I could lift from here?
You don't have to lift it. He's gonna lift it.
Okay. Like here, I just put a bunch of prints.
You didn't. You don't want to do.
You didn't sign up for this?
He's painting. That's why. Okay, so you lift your own then.
Look at Jax. Come on, you can try.
Jax, you already know how to do it. You want to teach her how? You want to teach her how to do it?
Fingerprint powder.
Here, put it on here.
Okay,
so
what do I do?
Stain anything.
Put that on there like that.
Yeah, so you tap, 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 tap.
Okay.
And then you go, put on the white, it's going to be hard to see. Yeah, I'm going to come right now.
Okay, so you use that. Okay.
You want to put your fingerprints on stuff? So you need a lot because you got to coat that brush.
Okay, and then do what?
And then you're going to put it all over wherever you put your finger.
Okay.
Okay, now get your little brush.
Can't even really see that.
I know. Well, it's white on white. What do you want from me? You don't have black napkins. Can you grab the little?
Okay, so then what?
Grab that brush.
Okay.
And then get your brush.
This reminds me of college. We had to do this in college.
And
in
then
our classes.
tap and get all the excess off of it.
Tap like this.
No, like
like this, like a
yes.
cigarette.
Like
I've never smoked a cigarette in my life.
I mean, I wouldn't think like.
How do you know that?
Because I see everybody going like this with their cigarettes.
Ashing it.
Yeah.
No, but like you would just like a powdered sugar, like getting powdered sugar.
Okay, so there we go. What do we got? Okay. So then what are we gonna do? What's the next thing we got to do?
Put it all over your.
Put it all over what?
I'm gonna help you pay. Let's help
Okay.
your mom
Right
now.
here, like this part?
Yeah, wherever.
Do
you put
this?
it. Mhm. Is that where you put your fingerprints?
I try to put my fingerprints all over this.
Well, get a good one so
Well-
you can see where it is. Yeah, now put it all over that. And now lift it.
Let's see if I can see it. Do we have anything there? Do you guys see a fingerprint there?
Now,
Okay, so
do we have any more of this, Jackson? No. I thought we had 2 sheets of this. Okay, now. How many do you want to lift?
I'm just seeing if I can lift anything. It doesn't seem like it's any,
Any good?
Yeah, I don't see
That's why I
anything.
rated it too.
Thank you.
Okay, or maybe it's just the surface that, I should use this glass surface here.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh man.
Okay, do it.
Oh yeah, I see some prints all over this.
We'll just.
We have to move our print. We're gonna do our print lifting here. All right, right here. This area looks like it has. I could pull some prints here. Let's see.
See, this powder is, I think, the problem. Here. See how much is on there.
Okay, yeah. Let's see if we can do this
Get
here.
some more. I'm coming, honey. Coming. Let's just fix this for your mom. Then after she gets the lift,
Okay.
and he did a lot better than you. Hello. Here.
Okay, what am I doing? Take this.
Taking the lifting and put it on there.
Oh wait, get off there.
I know. See what I mean? Now you just
Oh, I see why he does it.
doesn't.
I just totally contaminated my print.
You just contaminated the seam. Now you put it on here and you look for the ridges.
No wonder everybody's getting framed these days. I don't see any prints there. Now I know why you're rating this a 2, Jax. All right, there's our activity of the day. You know what those kids need to start saying when they go, when the cops come? You guys, I'm totally in criminal justice classes. This is not cocaine. This is totally dust. What is it called? It's fingerprint powder.
He's feeling better.
All right. There's our activity of the day. Make sure you guys go out and get your first fingerprint kit. Totally did not use gloves. I'm epic failing over here. All right. I'm totally contaminating the scene. All right. Well, see, that's why you guys come to this channel, though. You never know what you're going to find. You never know what you're going to. It's never the same show twice. Tell you that. All right. You failed. No gloves. Man, he's already smarter than you. That's scary. Totally. Totally. Teaching common sense over here. All right. Next case, closing it out. Excellent activity for the day there, right? I personally think that Baker has great choices that he brings to Jax, you know. The elf on the shelf gifts. I'm gonna take a picture of what I did the other day. Or I already have a picture. I'm gonna post it rather. And I said, oh my God, I cannot do that it was so funny though. It should be the adult version. All right, here we go. Shanna Gardner, murder for hire, literally in the same state. Jose Baez, back in the courtroom, back on a big case, over $1 million retainer. Jose Baez is labeled one of the best preparers for court that there is. Now, I obtained all 732 pages of Shanna Gardner and Jared Bridegan's divorce, all the motions and everything. It's a lot of paper. I wanted the prenuptial agreement. Neither one of them really much worked. Shanna Gardner's parents have we're talking ridiculous amount of money. And so they were living a certain lifestyle, and the parents of Shanna Gardner they were actually giving Shanna something like $6,800 or $8,600 a month as a stipend. Did I print them? Yeah, I printed the stuff that I needed because there's like duplicates of stuff, and you would think that that's a lot of pages, but truthfully, it's not, and I'll tell you why. And people think that that what's in those filings is bad for Shanna. They're actually not. I read them all. I read all 700 and some pages. Speed read. With that said, I have them over here. Let me grab them. I don't even think he can get her out of this. I'm telling you, the thing that's going to be interesting for me is how you're going to be pinpointing and connecting everybody. Let me grab something really quick. All right. Is that it right there? No, here it is. All right. Hello. Is it true they have... Yeah, Richard Allen's out of Westerville. For those of you guys that just came in. Got Molly Tibbetts. I'm doing that in members only. There we go. Okay. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. God, now this is just a big dusty mess. What do we got here? All right, take a look. So, one of Jose Baez's first moves, in case you guys care, it's about the grand jury. And what's important about it is that we have an issue with statements. So the state has disclosed certain statements alleged to have been made by the defendant in a consultation with the assistant state attorney regarding the origin of certain statements alleged to have been made by the defendant. It was determined that a witness, KJ is a neighbor. I went ahead and confirmed through looking in the evidence, that's just all this stuff, that KJ is a neighbor. And therefore, the state said they have no problem turning over information that had to do with the grand jury minutes. But basically, what this KJ person said in front of the grand jury is not to believe to be true, according to, Shanna Gardner. The disclosure of KJ's grand jury testimony is appropriate pursuant to Section 9 of. The best part about it is that the state says, absolutely, we have no issue. And so for we have right here, council has consulted with the state and the state has no objection. Now, what we've seen happen in Indiana and Idaho is that they have all these problems, with running things fairly. Right here, I love it. No objection. Go get yourself that stuff. Okay? Boom. Well, the big thing is that I got to the bottom of who KJ is, and KJ is a husband and wife that provided surveillance, I believe, from like a Ring camera. So that's who KJ is. They were in court a couple days ago, and there is just obviously a lot of discovery. But what's great is that if you guys, like I said, are beginning to follow, he puts in his motion, Jose does, and then boom, the state comes back with answering everything, providing information, and then giving them a huge hard drive to get into and to be able to sort out, to begin sorting stuff out. She is back in court in January. Now, Mario was there, her husband, estranged, and then he came in after. I was blown away when I saw how little Mario was. Shanna Gardner is a very tall girl. She's very, very tall. And Mario is little. Shanna Gardner is taller than Jose Baez. Shanna Gardner towers over her estranged husband. So I thought that was interesting, that Shanna Gardner has a thing for little men. Spread the rumor. # Shanna Gardner likes little men. Now I'll show you. All right. These civilian witnesses that have to do with Potomac, that's where this house was that Henry Tenon lived in and rented from Mario. But that address right there, the witnesses that lived there and that were roommates or whatever you want to call it with Henry Tenon, I think they're going to be interesting as witnesses. I'm curious to hear what they have to say and their relationship to Henry. They said that he moved out right basically in February after the murder. So in court was Mario with his attorney. Shanna was with Jose, and Jose Baez and Mario's attorney have been communicating because right now they are co-defendants. And something that Jose Baez is trying to have removed is them being co-defendants, and that this is not tried that way and that it's separated. I want to show you guys something that you don't see often, but take a look at this. They did DNA swabs of their own officers, law enforcement, to eliminate DNA. It's pretty cool, huh? You don't really see that much. Yeah, it's so true. She comes in, dressed, obviously not in her jail outfit. And Mario came in with his jail outfit. And I think that I bet you Mario was afforded that. Your lawyer just has to make those arrangements with family, stuff like that, get you your stuff, get you changed, things like that. I only know this because involved with the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case, we were running ties and new socks and pants and doing stuff like that. So, not sure who's there for Mario. Now, check this out. Let's go back to this money thing. Okay, let's go back to this money thing. I know all about their relationship. Okay. Jared and Shannon Gardner get married in 2010. They get divorced in 2015. During 2010 to 2015, they have a beautiful home, well over, mid to high six figures. And they are getting money from her mom. He is in school to get his master's. She is a stay-at-home mom / doing, MLM / wanting to start her own bakery. Now, when I got their financials, and they had to do their financial affidavit disclosures for their divorce, okay? He has no income. She has no income, except they get this stipend. They get this monthly, it's coming from a trust. And he's over here saying, that he should be getting child support and spousal support. And then she's saying that she should be getting it as well. And that's normal to do things, like that or whatever. She's saying she wants full custody. He's saying he wants full custody because, that or partial, 50-50. And then they get to the part of, okay, Jared Bridegan's going to have to get a job. All right. And in these documents, what ends up happening is that this never goes to a divorce trial. Okay. So this doesn't go to trial, which is they agree to do 50-50. And they agree that nobody is getting any type of spousal or child support because they settle out. Okay. And they take the house. They take the 2 cars. He gets one, she gets one. All right. Now, we get to the fact that Jared is getting this job, and he has to relocate to Utah. And I believe it was, he knew that he wasn't going there for that long, but it was something that they had to then get in touch with the courts to say, hey, I can only see, this is just temporary to have my kids every other weekend. I will be flying back from Utah. But it was his way to be able to advance to where he was in the position that he was in, which was Microsoft and working there. So Jared they agreed to this temporary situation just for him to be able to do this job and get the experience / funds rolling in. And then his plan obviously is to come back and he does that within a year. He is back relocated, has his job in Florida. And then they go ahead and reassume the original divorce decree order, which was 50-50. They had a discussion about where the kids should go to school, if they should use, that school or this school. I was expecting to see a whole bunch of crazy motions. They're just not there. Obviously, both parents, she agreed, separately with him, go ahead and go and do what you're doing. He would fly in, saw the kids, and then when he was done, he comes back. And she tried to fight that they would be able just to assume that original decree, but because it would never went through the courts, their temporary arrangement, the decree is what stood. So that's really important. So for her fighting and saying, well, no, they both were putting in motions to, I don't feel that there was, let's see. He was remarried. She was remarried. He actually starts a whole new family. And once the court said XYZ, Shanna pulled back the documents. So there's multiple times where she had put something in motion, then pulled it back. He put something back in motion. He actually represented himself pro se a couple different times, just with emotion or something like that. But none of this stuff ever went to the point of that they're in and doing, trials or hearings. They were able to settle stuff out. There was also, from my understanding and my recollection, I'd go back and check, but there was no guardian ad litem either, which means nobody was accusing the other one of doing horrible things, which would merit that. Okay. You don't go and accuse people of, abuse. The moment that you say something like that, they have to get a guardian ad litem involved. And from my understanding, that wasn't on there. One of their children, they had twins, needed some extra care with, medical stuff. But at the end of the day, people that have said out there that with mainstream media, that their crazy divorce case and child custody battle is going to affect Shanna Gardner. I read it all. There's no way. Sorry, it's just not there. There is no way that anything in those 734 pages is going to in any way, shape, or form cast either one of those, him or her, in bad light, in my opinion. And there's very limited, communication that's in there as far as emails and stuff like that, however they would communicate, which is nice. Like, it's not in there. I don't think that should be in there. That's private communication. So with that said, people that are listening to mainstream media talk about this custody battle being some, crazy thing, it's not there in those documents. Now, what they would do and say, outside of those documents, that's a different story. But I'm saying what you're going to take from documents in court filings, people get divorced all the time. People go through custody battles all the time. That's what it is. The thing that's interesting is that all of this time had gone by. So you get to 2022. So again, married in 2010, 2015, you're going to get divorced. And then it's 2022 when this happens. And Henry Tenon was and lived in a home that Mario owned and rented. Okay. And you're going to have to tie. Now, Henry Tenon said that he was going to testify against both of them, not one of them, but both of them, that they were both involved. And I'm curious to hear that testimony. Because Henry Tenon was given stuff for his testimony, for his cooperation. And so curious when Henry would have been communicating with Shanna Gardner versus this Mario guy, her husband, possibly being jealous of Jared. Again, it'll all come out, but how could you possibly have a defense if you're Shanna Gardner and you in fact didn't do this? I like to look at things as, okay, what would be the possible thing that you could possibly say? And it would be that your husband what? Because nobody was paying anybody anything. Nobody was getting screwed out of anything. Nobody owed anybody a bunch of money. None of that was happening. And again, all these years had passed. And there was no pending crazy, like, what what anybody would be trying to say. It's just not there. So all this time goes by, and Jared's moved on. He has another family. They seem to be doing their, parenting plan the way they're supposed to be doing it. And then we get to this guy, Henry Tennant, and there was allegedly checks that were written to him, but they were written to him after the murders. There was 3 checks written after the murders by months. And that's where I said, who pays for hits in checks? And how did Henry Tennant ever get them? Because Henry Tennant was already under arrest in August, and these checks were written in October. So, again, I like to think that, Jose Baez comes out and he says that Shanna Gardner is innocent. He also said that Casey Anthony didn't do it, right? I do believe that Aaron Hernandez did not do the Boston shooting that Jose represented him in. I do believe that Aaron Hernandez was innocent of that. And then he was actually, he was found innocent. The murder with Odin was before that, and that's the one he was serving time for, and in an appeal before the tragedy of someone taking their own life, allegedly. So it's going to be interesting to see how they connect everybody. And obviously, we want justice for Jared. And we're going to just be pumping out the documents and the facts and making sure that the truth is just the truth. But I think it should just be, wow, you connected him after the fact by checks. Who's paying anybody in checks? Even regardless, it's 2023 and 22. Who's writing checks nowadays? Not too many people are writing checks nowadays. So hits by checks has to be a boomer. So there's your age group for a suspect. Yeah, but the person writing the checks is in a younger category, like myself. But the person was in jail already. So it's going to be interesting. And I know that Florida, in this investigation and in the Adelson investigation, they sat back and did everything slowly and methodically to build this case so that they could get everybody that was involved. And this is a situation I've never seen Jose Baez do a murder for hire case. So I'm curious to see, he's obviously one of the best, but I was listening to one of the judges speak about him, who was the judge in the Casey Anthony case. Some people liked that judge, some people didn't like that judge. But one thing, I did listen to an interview, and he said that Jose Baez is a master preparer for trial. You're not going to find a better preparer. And now that is somebody that I would love to do work with, because I think that that's, first of all, that's so huge and important, but that's kind of where my brain goes, is the preparation for it. And you have to do a bunch of work to be that prepared. He brings out, big, if you go see the latest case that he did with the doctor that was accused of killing 14 people by giving them too much meds, but it was comfort. And he got him off of all 14. It was here in Ohio, right over here at the Mount Carmel. It was, the case took place here in April of 2022. And my happy ass should have been in that courtroom watching. But I had no idea until after the fact that Jose Baez was representing Dr. Husel. Dr. Husel worked with a bunch of my good friends, and they were all told they couldn't talk about this, that were, nurses and stuff at the hospital. Again, all 14 patients, that was So he had 14 murder, not guilty on all of them. But I went back and watched it, and he had diagrams to show, you know, timelines, and he's just, and so to hear that interview, it makes perfect sense. He's a master preparer. And so I believe that Jose Baez is going to be prepared as possible to represent Shannon Gardner. I also think he's not going to go blind into something that to represent somebody and then go in there and look like a fool. So we'll see. But that's that on that. More things will be developing in that case. But Florida has themselves another murder for hire, big wealthy family, allegedly, you know, and getting the financials of Shannon Gardner's family was involved in that and the discovery. So, but all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up this time. I will see you guys